Here to cover all things crime, history, and politics, we are at the desk. I'm your host, Janae Overton, and in today's episode, we will be talking about updates with the Epstein files, as well as the budding tensions in South America, the history of football and Thanksgiving, and how people celebrate fall all over the world. Now come take a seat with us at the desk. Welcome back to ATD. First, it's time to send it over to the politics panel to discuss the Epstein files and tensions in South America. Over to you, Sam.
Thank you. Although Jeffrey Epstein died in 2019, his name is making the biggest headlines in 2025. Epstein, who was an American financier, was known for his elite social circle and later his disgusting actions as a sexual abuser. As Trump took office, his name resurfaced for having ties with the president. Many around the country are calling for the release of the Epstein files, potentially stating the very high-profile names involved in this sex trafficking. As of minutes ago, the Senate has agreed to unanimously approve the releasing of the files as the House passed it overwhelmingly earlier today. Once the release of the file passes in the Senate, we will all await Trump's willingness to sign the bill. Additionally, escalation of tensions in South America continue to rise as the U.S. moves their most powerful aircraft carrier in the Caribbean. President Donald Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio have not minced words when they continuously say they will do whatever it takes to end the war on drugs coming into the United States. Well, everybody, it's good to be back with all of you. I will start with opening statements from Ryan. Your thoughts on the Epstein files and what has occurred today?
Well, this whole Epstein saga has been pretty crazy.
Yes.
I mean, he ran on publishing these Epstein files. February, Pam Bondi said the Epstein files are on her desk and ready to review. The Epstein files phase 1, which came out as binders and were given out to conservative social media influencers, were established as, the first wave of these files coming out, but those all ended up being information that we already really knew. Since then, Trump got accused of being in the files by Elon Musk, and then there were multiple attempts by him to kind of dampen sort of people's claims people's requests to release these files. First, he said there were no Epstein files, and then he said it was a Democrat hoax. And it all led up to the government shutdown where they were unable to vote on the files or swear in the representative that would have given them the votes needed for their discharge position to force a vote to release the Epstein files. What I've noticed from Trump is this has the potential to be a massive cover-up, I think. Right when they were voting to put the day they were going to finish signing all the names on this discharge petition, Trump called Lauren Boebert into the White House, into the Situation Room, to try to get her to take away her vote. He tried calling Nancy Mace multiple times, tried to get her to change her vote. Once it was certain that this was going to pass, he suddenly flipped his stance and he said, okay, I'll sign it if it comes to me. Here's the problem. He could release them right now. There's no reason for him to wait for the Senate or for Congress. He could tell the Department of Justice, release these files right now, and they would have to do so. There's no need for the political theater he's kind of putting on right now of this whole process.
I mean, let's be clear, though. This is nothing new for political theater for the Trump administration. Also, like you mentioned, a reporter asked that very question today in the Oval Office. Why aren't you releasing the files? You have the capability. And he went on a tangent saying she's a terrible reporter, a terrible person, and is now calling ABC to fire her as a reporter.
He called another reporter up Piggy.
Yes, he also
He
called her, he said, quiet, Piggy. Up to you, Jackson. What are your opening thoughts?
Well, so Ryan said, there's no reason for him not to release them. I think there is a reason. He doesn't want to know. He doesn't want the American people to know that reason. So I think that he, months ago he was saying it was a Democrat hoax. They aren't real. This was all made up. And now he suddenly switches up when almost every single person, with the exception of Louisiana Representative Clay Higgins.
Yes, let's mention his name, by the way.
Politically, yes. But now he switched up and says, oh, yeah, Republicans, please vote for this. Please vote to release this. It needs to be out in public and investigate Clinton, investigate all these people. So I really am suspicious of what they're going to do before he signs that bill, because I don't know what they can take out of it, what they can possibly put false information in. Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, all these members of the Trump administration. I just don't know what they're planning on doing, because it's become pretty obvious that Trump has at least some connection to these files, has some connection to Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm really concerned of what's going to be released and how true it's actually going to be.
Right. Let's be clear. Again, this has been going on for way too long. These documents have been on Pam Bondi's desk for way too long, and Trump then came out and said to the House, you should vote yes on releasing it. If he's comfortable with the release, it would make me believe that he was reassured. I'm not sure. I don't want to speculate. Vita, what are your thoughts?
I mean, the fact that this is just starting to be a possibility, and it's a small step towards justice for all the survivors. I think that's what has been lost in this conversation. I think that there's no hiding the fact that I think Trump is protecting his billionaire friends. I think, and Clay Higgins expressed that himself when he was saying that he was hesitant about the files being released because, there could be personal information that is released to the public. The fact that there's anybody that is more conflicted with protecting the identity of possible rapists than seeking justice for survivors of sexual assault is appalling and shows very clearly the priorities of the Trump administration.
You're 100% right. And to add to that, in the House, Mike Johnson was hoping that the majority leader in the Senate had the word that he was going to add the provisions to protect the names. He says it's the victims. I agree with you. It's totally not the victims. What are your thoughts? And we just saw unanimous. At least it's agreed upon. What are your thoughts?
Well, I wonder what's going on in Mike Johnson's head. That's something that should be investigated, because Mike Johnson, honestly, is probably working very closely with Donald Trump in terms of delaying things to make sure that other things don't get out that could pretty much incriminate our president. And then we got to talk about America's new sweetheart, I guess, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She, I guess, is going to create her own political party. I guess, it would be funny if her and Elon Musk linked up. Musk would have the money. She would have, the face and the drive to create that third political party, because she's no longer a part of the MAGA movement. And I'd say I feel bad for her, but her positions are all over the place now. And I wonder if she's going to get primaried. And also, congratulations to Arizona Representative Adelita Grijalva, who has finally been sworn in. I mean, it's been over 50 days since she won that election. She finally gets the keys to her office in Arizona. She can finally serve the 800,000 constituents that have been waiting for representation in Congress. There's still 4 vacant seats, but those don't need to be filled to get that through the House. It's got through the House. It's got through the Senate. We're going to learn a lot more about Jeffrey Epstein. And he's back on the news, and no matter what Trump can do, he can declare any war he wants. He can do anything he wants. Epstein's not going away, doesn't matter how long he's been dead.
Yeah, I mean, he makes a great point with this Marjorie Taylor Greene. What political world are we living in where Marjorie Taylor Greene, this extreme MAGA supporter, and then we have almost bipartisan support besides one vote, and supposedly what we're expected to see is unanimous support in the Senate, which it should be this way. But what timeline are we living in where we have an agreement in Congress?
Well, we have a few Republicans who appear to be true believers, who like Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I personally think she's on a grift right now to sort of drum up support, especially with how unpopular Trump has been. Honestly, I think it's a great move politically for her to distance herself from the Trump administration. She can maintain a lot of her views, and I still think she would get support from her constituents.
I think it's very obvious that Donald Trump does things behind the scenes and isn't very transparent about it. I have a feeling she got pretty frustrated by his stance on her wanting to run for governor. I have a feeling she got pretty frustrated with that. I think that tipped her over. And then second, I think she is seeing this outcome and is trying to save herself before it's too late, because a lot of these Republicans are going to go down with Donald Trump, and they're realizing that. And that's why they're changing their
To
position.
be fair, though, I don't think that she's isolating herself that much from the MAGA movement as we
She's kicked
saying.
out of it. She's not in it anymore.
I mean, he himself called her a traitor, but I mean, she went on CNN last night and she's talking about like that there's still so many things about the MAGA movement that she aligns with and that she believes in and that she thinks that he's done such a good job as a president so far. So like, there's not that much isolation. I don't think we should fully like cast her away yet.
I mean, Maxey always says he agrees with 95% of the Republican agenda outside of this and foreign wars.
The Republican Party it's a mess right now. You know, they're
It's a divide between
And
two
she's
sides.
not likely
sides,
to
I'd
be
say.
accepted by the left either.
No,
so
no,
I think
way.
she's being strategic in the way that she is still, you know, assuring her supporters that she's still aligning with Trump in at least in his values and his intentions, but not necessarily, well, clearly not on this issue.
Well, last night she was on CNN. She did say that she never had a conversation about running for governor or Senate, and never, especially with the president.
Because they're so honest over there.
Right, they're very honest.
They're very honest. They love releasing
on the
files
topic
and
of that,
text
we're talking a lot about the MAGA movement, but let's talk about the Democrats in this all, because these files have been Epstein has been a criminal and a sex abuser and a monster for a very long time. And there's not one party there. They can point the finger, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, but they are both involved with not releasing these files. They could have released them when Biden was in office. And then in 2007, Epstein was given a very cushy sentencing, and then it kept going on. And then now his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, is also given a very cushy sentence. So let's be clear, there's foul play with everybody involved.
I would like to point out, though, that this last week, all the emails that we just got were not from the Epstein files. These were subpoenaed by Epstein's estate. They collected these and sent these over. As far as these files having been able to come out under Biden, they were under seal by a judge. Because of Ghislaine Maxwell's court proceedings and the grand jury testimony, which is almost always under seal, these were not able to be released because usually presidents do not have the authority to unseal legal documents, especially during an active case, which was the case for that trial for the Epstein files for the majority of Biden's term. That being said, the last 11 months after Maxwell was convicted, they had the opportunity to do so. But this is when you start seeing more Democratic leaders, and especially in the past year and a half, try to move forward with opportunities to vote to release these files, and they were blocked and rejected by Republicans at multiple occasions.
And you make a great point here. When it comes to this, GOP Representative Thomas Massie actually said that he's nervous that Trump is going to find a loophole, saying he's concerned that he's opening a flurry of investigations with certain people like Bill Clinton, like the president of Harvard, Larry Summers, they're going to use the investigations in order to not release the files. Now, we're going to move on to Venezuela, but before, Mark Epstein, his brother, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, said Jeff definitely has dirt on Trump, and also Epstein referred to Trump in an email that said he is the dog that hasn't barked. Now, moving on to Venezuela, this is a super interesting time right now where the U.S. has moved the U.S. Gerald Ford to the Caribbean, which is our largest aircraft carrier. What are our thoughts as we're already striking what they're calling drug boats? Maduro said he'll only meet with Trump if it's face-to-face. And we're now in the mix of what could be the brink of war. Let's start with Jackson. What are your thoughts?
Well, we got a battle here between one untrustworthy leader and even more untrustworthy leader. I mean, President Maduro is a criminal. He's a drug trafficker. People are fleeing Venezuela by the millions. He's not a guy you want to hear anything from because he's just going to say a bunch of, a load of what, because he wants to protect his own identity. But the strikes against these boats, you have to question whether or not they actually have drugs on them. We don't know anything for sure because Trump has not proved anything yet. He hit these boats, people did die. And you have to, even if there is a high likelihood of having drugs on them, you have to be able to know for sure that, because you can't start a conflict. Because again, the America First agenda says keep things here, invest in the homeland first, and not try to get involved in these foreign conflicts. So I think that he needs to at least prove to the American people that this is a national security threat and not just do things erratically.
Right. I mean, to one of your points here, the U.S. declared that a Venezuelan cartel is under Maduro's leadership, which allows them to go after them.
Cartel de los Soles.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the one.
Now, Vita, to the Trump comment he made a few days ago, he said, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. We're going to kill them. They're like going to be dead. So when it comes to Jackson's
Such a good
point,
orator.
Oh yeah, he's great.
What away with words.
So
Can you imagine if he wrote a book? Like if he actually wrote a book, because people write it for him, obviously.
when it comes to this, when we talk about whether he's allowed to do this or not, do you think at this point now, moving our biggest aircraft carrier over there, now we're starting to kill more and more people? Do you think it needs congressional approval?
Yes, I think it absolutely does. But do I think it's going to happen? No. I mean, this is a situation that I think can be compared to the invasion of Iraq. This was something that we invaded Iraq on the basis that they had access and had power of weapons of mass destruction, and that's literally why the U.S. invaded Iraq. I mean, this is a very similar situation where we're assuming that Mr. Maduro is a terrorist. I mean, that's literally what Marco Rubio called him.
Well, it shouldn't be in power. He lost an election.
Let's be clear.
I mean,
shouldn't be in power.
Let's be
Okay,
clear about
I think-
Maduro, though. Most of their country lives under the poverty line.
Mhm.
He won he's literally just
I'm
obtaining
not
power.
complimenting Maduro. I'm
A
just
terrorist is not the correct word, but he's a dictator. He is not a good guy. That is
Right.
what we need to know here.
Right. But what I'm saying is when you say the word terrorist, that means, okay,
Mhm.
because he's a terrorist, we're allowed to do this
Right.
and this and this. That's what I think is the reasoning behind Trump's intentions. And I think that his intentions are very much fueled by Maduro's alliances. I mean, he's very heavily allied with China, Russia, Iran. These are all very powerful countries that Trump wants power over. So I think that this is more of a tactic to scare Maduro. And I don't think that Maduro is very intimidated right now. I mean, he literally posted his video saying he wants to meet face to face.
Right. I want
a little-
to ask you this, because this made a great point right there. They said that they did not roll out.
I thought it was a good one.
They did not rule out the idea of sending troops into Venezuela. You just mentioned all the powerful countries that they're aligned with.
Right.
Do you think that if we allow troops to go into the country, that opens the door for people like China, for people like Russia to also get involved?
All right, so I'm going to say something like really out of context. You're going to be like, Ryan, why are you saying that? But I'm going to say it and then I'm going to explain.
Just say it.
So don't worry. Gas prices, oil, crude oil.
Yeah. I mean, Venezuela has
we
the
get oil
largest.
from them. Yeah. If we go to war with them, gas going to go up. Gas going to go up. We don't go to war with them, gas going to stay down. I think Joe Biden and Donald Trump have both had their problems with gas, right? And Donald Trump has always been talking about tariffs and Venezuela. He loves the word tariffs. He loves tariffing all these countries, even though it charges the American people. We go to war, we put troops on the ground. Gas prices are going up. And you know who's going to be not so thrilled about that is those voting in the midterms.
Right. But I mean, let's also be clear about this, though. Not only is it gas prices, and he's not following that American first agenda, like he said, at least to this point. But
He hasn't been.
not at all. But now when we look at this, like I just asked Ryan here, I'm going to send it to you guys. These countries these countries are waiting for these. What are your thoughts?
I think I have three things. These are the three reasons why Trump is having such a heavy, he's deploying 15,000 troops, all of this. He wants regime change, Maduro out, oil, and world power. That's the answer right
I got a fourth.
What is
He
it?
wants the Epstein files out of the news. I'm serious.
Yes,
It's a heart attack.
that's true.
He does. That's why there was troops in Los Angeles. Spoiler alert. That's why they fabricated all these stories.
Okay,
He
sorry.
wants the Epstein files out of the news. Ryan, you're the better Ryan.
It's
You
just
talk.
looking more and more like Bush over and over again. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump's approval rating got even lower than Bush's during the Iraq War if he does choose to invade Venezuela. I mean, he promised himself as the president of peace, right? The peacetime president.
Peace through strength.
He said there would be no wars. He said America first. Obviously, that is not true. But it's just like, are we not tired of wars? Clinton, we get a war. Bush, we get a war. The Iraq War. Obama, there's a war. Biden, there's a war. Now we have
a secretary.
Now
of
we have
war.
Secretary of War. Now it's Department of War. Like does it not get tiring? What happened to America first?
And I want to ask this question to all of you. I mentioned it off air. We have JD Vance, we have Marco Rubio, two people who are slated possibly to be the next people and heads of the Republican Party. We're seeing one of the biggest people in the Republican Party, Marjorie Taylor Greene, starting to cut ties a little bit with Donald Trump. With all of the stuff that he's doing, and as unpopular as he's starting to get, do we believe that more and more people are going to start cutting ties with the president?
Share some love. Share some love.
especially-
We're here too, you know.
I'm trying.
Share some love. Share
Go
some
ahead.
love. Go ahead, Jackson.
Yes, they are. It's because it's a betrayal of the traditional Republican values. People are eventually, once Trump is out of power, whether he passes away or whether or not he goes out normally in 2029, people are going to slowly move away from MAGA. It's inevitable. It'll be a temporary movement. It won't be something that'll be talked about in 50 years, I don't think. So yes, people need to slowly start moving away from him and start going back to the Mitt Romney era Republicans most likely, or maybe even further back, Ronald Reagan perhaps. But you have to eventually move on from this president because he's been such a weird political figure in the sense that he's changed the dynamic of politics. He's made things less professional. He's made things a little bit more informal. And I think people are going to move away though, because I think people are getting sick of his antics and his just constant ego boosting activity and the things he's doing.
I mean, everyone in the Trump administration, what do you think is going through JD Vance's head right now with all the Epstein stuff? I mean, these guys are risking career suicide if this takes a turn for the worse.
JD Vance has turned his back on his values.
Oh, he's a
completely
different
turned his
person
back
than
on
he
his
was
values.
10 years ago.
Yeah, I think
15 years ago.
right now, yes, he's theoretically in line to get the nomination. It's early. We haven't even gotten to the midterms. But he's turned his back on his values and the community that he used to become famous. That book that he wrote, he abandoned those people with SNAP. We talked about that last week. He abandoned those people with the whole SNAP benefits idea. JD Vance has abandoned his values. But at the same time, this has happened to every president. We have looked back and we have gone, they look good and they didn't end up good. It happens all the time. We're saying that about Joe Biden. I mean, we say this all the time. We look back and we go, this shouldn't have happened. Look at Ronald Reagan. People are really mad at some of the things he's done, but in the moment they loved him and they couldn't wait to elect him. This is nothing abnormal. The left will rise, then it'll go back down. The right will rise, then it'll go back down. It happens.
I mean, let's also be clear about that. You just said JD Vance turning on his values. He was a very strong advocate about saying that Trump was so-called did he go as far to say a Nazi, I believe?
He was the first politician, I believe, to refer to Trump as Hitler.
Right.
America's Hitler.
And also, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, did not like him. Chris Christie
Little Marco.
now turned him. Like, there's so many people that continuously turn on him.
They want us out. They want us out.
They're
kicking us out.
Well, that is all that we have today for the politics panel. We will keep you all updated on the files and the conflict in South America as the news breaks. On a lighter note, from all of us here on the politics panel, we are wishing you and your family a very happy Thanksgiving, and we're looking forward to being back soon. Back to you, Janae.
Turkey prices are down in Pennsylvania.
Thanks, Sam. Stay tuned as Sophia explains how football has become a Thanksgiving pastime.
Thanks, Janae. My name is Sophia Tabernet. When people think of Thanksgiving, they most commonly think of turkey, family, and of course, football. But what many fans don't realize is how strongly the sport is connected to the holiday's history. Long before the NFL existed, football became a defining tradition of Thanksgiving, forever shaping the way millions of Americans celebrate the holiday. Back in 1876, the Intercollegiate Football Association chose to host their college football championship game on Thanksgiving Day. That year, Yale defeated Princeton 2-0 in Hoboken, New Jersey. But Thanksgiving Day football didn't turn into a social phenomenon until 1880, when the game was moved to New York. College football fans used this location change as an opportunity to travel to New York for the holiday weekend. Since Thanksgiving was still relatively new, established just 2 decades prior, college football helped bring more attention and enthusiasm to the holiday. However, not everyone was excited about this. In 1893, the New York Herald condemned the rising popularity of football on Thanksgiving and argued that the sport was ruining the holiday. Nevertheless, the tradition persisted into the 20th century. In 1920, the first professional football league was established, named the American Professional Football Association, now known as the National Football League. On Thanksgiving Day 1920, 6 teams played, marking the first professional holiday matchup. Between 1922 and 1933, the Chicago Bears and the Chicago Cardinals played each other every Thanksgiving. However, professional football was still not nearly as popular as college football. This all changed in 1934 when the Detroit Lions owner G.A. Richards was searching for a way to bring publicity to the struggling team and decided to schedule a Thanksgiving Day game against the Bears. Richards was also owner of an NBC affiliate radio station in Detroit, which inspired him to broadcast the Thanksgiving game nationwide on over 90 stations. The strategy worked and the game was sold out, with 26,000 games showing up to the University of Detroit football stadium. Although the Bears defeated the Lions 19-16, the broadcasted game became a cherished tradition. Starting in 1934, the Lions were the only team in the NFL to host a Thanksgiving game every year, except 1939 to 1944 due to World War II. In 1953, the game was televised for the first time. The popularity of the annual matchup caused national television networks to push for more Thanksgiving games. In 1966, Dallas Cowboys owner Tex Schramm scheduled a game against the Cleveland Browns on Thanksgiving Day. Only established 6 days prior, the Cowboys were a new team looking for ways to gain a new fan base. The Cowboys won that game 26-14 and have since played on the holiday every year except 1975 and 1977, when the St. Louis Cardinals briefly hosted the game. However, after losing both matchups, their hosting spot was revoked and Dallas secured its place as an annual Thanksgiving team. By the early 2000s, other teams began to grow frustrated that the Lions and the Cowboys had a monopoly on Thanksgiving Day football. Therefore, in 2006, the NFL added a third game to the schedule, hosted by a rotating roster of teams. As of 2025, every team in the NFL has played on Thanksgiving Day except the Jacksonville Jaguars. Back to you, Janae.
That one.
We are once again back at the desk. It's time to send it over to the history panel to discuss fall festival traditions from all over the world. Over to you, Tyler.
Thanks, Janae. Most of us probably associate this time of year with Thanksgiving and the American holiday season. But how does the rest of the world celebrate? Many countries have their own festivals, each with their own unique traditions and history. Each panelist has selected 2 fall-related festivals from around the world. First, after sharing the traditions of each festival, the rest of the panelists will be given the chance to guess the festival's country of origin. After the country is revealed, each presenting panelist will discuss the historical context and the purpose of their chosen festival. Let's dive in and see how well you can guess the origins of these fascinating global festivals.
All right, guys. Let's see that first one.
Hey.
All right, first one.
All right, well, my first
this?
festival.
Okay. I
So-
know exactly. what it's
Oktoberfest.
doing, Yeah.
Great picture, too.
Yeah.
Well, give us your context. What do we
Okay.
do during this mysterious
Good
festival?
guesses. So this festival, it's actually, though you were right about it, being Oktoberfest, most of it actually takes place in September. It
Okay.
begins in mid-September and actually ends on the first Sunday
Sorry.
in October.
He said misleading. That was funny.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
start by telling us what they do because
Right.
we didn't get a chance to
That's
do
a good
that.
idea.
This
That's
is
a good
already
idea.
projected.
So,
let's just
Beer is obviously one of the main themes, as you can see in the image of the
I got that
Oktoberfest.
one. Yeah,
Actually,
I got that. Yes.
So in 2023, there were actually there's approximately 7 million visitors per year these days. In 2023,
tourism revenue.
7.4 million liters of beer were consumed at the Oktoberfest.
Oh
That's
my
over
gosh.
it's over a liter per person on average.
That's insane.
So they really take the beer seriously there.
They do.
Nice.
There's a lot of traditional food, traditional Bavarian food, as well as games, food stands, whatnot.
All right, now history portion. Let's hear the history.
Right. So it began in 1810 after Prince Ludwig of Bavaria married Princess Therese. And the original Oktoberfest did not involve beer or games. Actually, it was completely different back then. It was a lot more minimalist. And that kind of gradually became what it is today.
So why do they drink so much beer?
Because it's Germany.
Because
why
Shay's
not?
like, I want the
So
answer.
fair.
Like,
Yeah, and I mean,
Germany.
it's actually, so Oktoberfest has its own version of beer called Märzen style beer. That was
Yummy.
invented specifically for the Oktoberfest. It's a darker, maltier beer. And yeah, that's basically how it came to be that way.
Well,
So,
thank you so much,
of course,
Tyler.
cool.
All right,
Nikolai, what do you have for us?
Awesome.
let's go
Okay.
on to the next
Yeah.
See
one.
the next one.
All right.
So mine, there we have it.
Oh,
Oh.
We got it's in flames. I gotta tell you. So this one, you like that a lot.
What? Yeah, I did.
Wow, what a
That's crazy.
So there's parades,
Whoa.
face like that.
a lot of bonfires, a lot of food. Children carry effigies through the streets in the days leading up to it, and there are straw effigies that are thrown in the fire. It's about this guy named Guy Fawkes. So, and it's about. I'll name the event that it's based on. I'll see if you guys know your history.
Okay.
The gunpowder plot of 1605. Do you know where that happened at?
Ooh.
So like England.
Gunpowder plot.
Is that the country? Did I get the country right?
United Kingdom, yes. It's the well, yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
yes, because I
United
forget
Kingdom.
Scotland.
What happened was there's a bunch of Roman Catholics who were mad at King James I for refusing to grant greater religious tolerance to Catholics. So they plan to blow up the House of Parliament and kill the king and members of Parliament.
They're just killing people, bro.
But the plan was sabotage. Guy Fawkes got caught. It was this guy. And basically, so there's a big holiday now where they just berate this guy. They burn him down, basically. Like
that's crazy.
So this guy is getting disgraced. And there's just, children are carrying little hymns around and throwing them in fire. So they hate this guy, and
That's very sacrilegious.
Every
but I
November-
guess that's the point.
Yeah,
it seems like it based on your description.
Every November 5th, they celebrate
Wow.
November. That's like after our election day.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're electing our world leaders, and they're burning them.
Similar things happen here too. It's okay.
All right, let's move on. Ooh.
Okay, so this is mine. This is the Marine Monarch Festival. So this actually isn't a like fall kind of like autumn festival. It's just one that I still found that was like really interesting. So it's probably pretty easy to guess where this takes place just based on the picture. But it is kind of a New Year celebration, kind of welcomes in like the beginning of summer and like prosperity and things like that. If anyone wants to guess where possibly this could be based on the clothing, anyone want to guess?
Think, Lauren?
Where do I think?
Yeah.
Wait, no, I don't want to say the wrong answer. Can someone else
Are you
guess?
serious right now?
Lauren, guess right now.
Lauren say.
Wait.
Okay, we'll come back to
Okay, so Lauren's having issues. I don't know.
Like somewhere in Oceania, like Hawaii. I don't want to.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna say, but
That's about it.
But I thought like in Hawaii they might celebrate like thing. Wait, when did you say this festival is?
it's like with the beginning of summer, like to bring in the
okay.
summer.
Then okay, yeah.
And you know,
I
kind
thought
of
it was
near
like
solstice.
Thanksgiving time.
Little
so
curveball
I was
for
like,
regulars.
I feel like they would celebrate Thanksgiving too.
I
but-
differentiated just because I really liked this
Yeah,
festival.
okay,
I like what
yeah.
it stood for.
Then I agree with you, Hawaii. That's what I was gonna say. I didn't want to be wrong.
Yes,
Yeah,
Hawaii.
Nice
Yeah,
thing is
'cause that's-
different countries have different time zones and different
Exactly.
latitudes,
a good point.
longitudes. And they got different falls. Like Australia got
Exactly.
December or not December. They got their winter going on during our summers. So some of
Yeah.
these festivals that we're going to be talking about might not be during like the American fall season, but they're
Yeah.
still going to celebrate things like
Yeah.
harvest and go into
Yeah.
those themes.
Yeah, especially in like warmer climates. Obviously, they
sure.
don't really have. I mean, yeah, sure,
1000%.
they'll celebrate things like Christmas and whatnot, but obviously it's a little bit different there.
Thank you,
so.
Kara.
Yes, of course.
Okay, let's go to the
Yeah,
next
who's next?
one. All right, that is me. So, Earn to Dunk Fest.
Ooh,
yeah.
and she
Oh,
pronounced it correctly, folks.
And I hope I did. Well, so you're going to be decorating churches with the Harvest Bounty. You're attending specials church services. You're participating in community parades with music, dancing. There's like decorated wagons, right? There's even a harvest crown, which is kind of like a symbol of celebration. And it's all about community and sharing these experiences, especially with people in need.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of family feasts, kind of like Thanksgiving, and like evening events, like lantern parades for
Oh
children.
wow.
oh, that's
So it's
cool.
very, We've already kind of talked about this country, but this is like a more low-key version of that
Yeah.
festival. I'll give you a hint.
Really.
Huh.
I'm guessing it's.
Yeah, I was gonna say Germany
Take a
too.
wild
Germany.
guess, guys.
Yeah, I
the
was
way
gonna
that
say
that's, the way
Germany.
that that's spelled. I'm
Yeah, 1000%. So it's
Germany.
kind of like Oktoberfest's like less flashy, less like expensive sister, less
Yeah.
beer,
More
less
coming
alcoholic
together.
sister. Yeah,
More coming together.
More
for
coming
not
together,
alcohol.
more
coming together
Like,
and
more-
less
yeah.
alcoholism.
more community service,
Yeah.
more like focus on things
Community
like
service
religion.
after the alcoholism,
Yeah,
Yeah.
1000%, right? And it begins with the ancient pagan harvest festivals, and it's kind of evolved into a modern religious and secular celebration of gratitude for harvest. So a lot like what we do for Thanksgiving. It's
That's really awesome.
quite literally German Thanksgiving in a way, and it's always done on the first Sunday of October. The date kind of varies by regions, but it can also be tied to earlier traditions like St. Michael's Day.
Oh wow, that's
wow.
fun fact.
that is pretty
Yes.
cool.
All right, next one.
Awesome.
Okay, so this is mine. The Yam Festival. So this March. Why are you cracking up?
I'm just really interested in the Yam Festival.
Oh,
Please,
okay.
continue.
Yeah. So this marks the beginning of the yam harvest season. So it's honoring the earth and its ancestors, like with the successful harvest. And then families will prepare dishes with like these yams, and people will perform rituals expressing gratitude to the survival of the land and growing of the yams. Do you guys want to take a guess what country this is from?
Yemen.
Oh wow! This is the content I like to see on that one, guys. Good job.
Sounds good.
Anyone else?
What do you think, Tyler?
Oh, is this Nigeria? I was gonna go Kenya.
Yeah, so it's like
So close.
yeah,
Maybe
it's
like
Ghana and Nigeria.
Oh, I literally said
Yeah,
that. You said it. Oh my
so
god.
it's Ghana and
That's awesome.
Nigeria. So this festival is celebrated among their communities to honor the earth, the gods, and the ancestors, providing successful yam harvests. The yams are one of the region's most important staple foods. So offering yams is symbolizing gratitude and respect. And it's been a festival over generations. And normally they'll have rituals, dancing, just community feast, all to symbolize the harvest of yams. Yeah.
Yeah, it's harvest is super important, guys, because that's food.
Harvest.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
not eating?
Yeah.
Man, I love harvest. I love eating
Big
food.
harvest fan.
I would be
Yeah,
a big
she's a
harvest fan.
harvest
I'm a
fan.
harvest fan.
Harvest.
I think we're all harvest fans, guys.
I'm gonna give you a yam before we leave for break, just
Yeah.
to
A
express my
yam?
gratitude.
I've
for
never
you.
had a yam.
So I will give you a yam.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I'm honored.
You
Can you give me a yam too? Sure. Thank you.
I'll get the panel.
Little
I'll get
whole bag of them
yam.
all
Oh,
together.
yeah, we're all
I
gonna
will
eat
get
yams.
entire
Oh my gosh, I love
It's
that.
yam giving season.
All right, let's
Yam
move
giving
on.
season.
All right. Well, speaking of harvest, this is a festival that's very, very, rooted in harvest. So it's a harvest festival held when there's a full moon, just like the Oktoberfest. It's held from mid-October or mid-September to early October. So it's actually the exact same timeline. One of the key themes of this festival are lanterns, dancing. As you can see in that image, that is a costume they use for something called the lion dance.
That's awesome.
So it is very traditional. There's a lot of dancing, a lot of music. Gift giving is a big theme as well. A lot of family and friend appreciation happening there. And then there's traditional desserts too. They have something called moon cakes because they really do worship the moon. And actually, part of the history is also just about kind of worshiping the moon, and it's the moon goddess Chani is worshipped by a lot of. That's kind of how it originated, was
Okay.
the worshiping of this moon goddess.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you
So-
said mooncakes, I was immediately reminded of China.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually wrote right here.
However, I will say
Yeah.
the line dancing thing, that there's something they do in Singapore. I used to live in Singapore for a year.
Oh,
There-
wow.
I
Talk
don't
about
remember
Shay,
that.
everyone.
But
Yeah.
anyway, they do this thing called a lion dance. You got people
Yeah.
wearing the lion things, and it's
Mhm.
it's very similar to that though. It
I'm gonna
looks a lot
respond
like
with
that.
another lore drop. I actually did a lion dance in elementary school.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness!
I was in the head of the lion when I was like
You
6
were
years
the head of the
old.
lion.
Yep.
That's
You need to
amazing.
go
Yeah.
into this.
All right, what country are we thinking?
China.
I'm thinking China as well.
I knew it was China. I read about it earlier.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
See,
more in
we're
guys are all
enriching our
right.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is
Yay.
the biggest festival I think in China.
Yeah.
The Mid Autumn Festival, also known as the Moon Festival, because of obviously how important the moon is in the festival. So as I've already mentioned, it was based on this legend of the moon goddess. They're part of the origin of the festival involved making offerings to this goddess, and the festival is actually over 3,000 years old. So it is a very, very ancient festival. All right, we're short on time, so I'm going to move on. Nikolai, what do you have for us?
Okay, we got some moats here. Bonum Tuk is what it's called. This festival is celebrated over the span of 3 days and celebrates the end of the rainy season. There's boat races, fireworks, and concerts.
Oh, wow.
Do you guys have a guess of what it could be?
Festival.
It's a hard one.
This reminds me of
That's
the
hard.
Indonesian boat racing.
Yeah, you
I
give you $20
You
if
know
you
what
get
I
it.
feel like it's
I think so.
it looks to
Indonesian
me
boat
like
racing videos
somewhere.
that-
I'm gonna say Indonesia.
Oh, I was not. I don't know. I was thinking somewhere in Latin America.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
I
don't
was
know.
Cambodia.
Cambodia.
Okay. You
Oh,
you
so
were
I was
pretty
way
close.
off, but
Good guess.
Good job.
I
You guys.
tried.
It's a very hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's split into 3 days. First day is a bunch of boat races. Second day, lantern lighting. There's actually a competition where they get each other to laugh the long, like who can last longest without laughing. We should do that sometimes.
Oh,
That'd be
Lauren
fun.
would do horrible
I would
that.
not. I
Lauren
would.
would.
We're
First
givers
out.
here.
Yeah.
And then on the last day, they cut a ribbon signifying the end of it. So
Yeah.
it's the
Oh,
biggest
wow.
event in Cambodia, the
That's nice.
biggest holiday.
Oh,
That's really
Very cool.
That's cool, yeah.
Awesome.
Let's move on.
Okay, so this is my
Ooh.
other one. I'm definitely gonna butcher this. Walper Giz night. Sure. Good enough, guys. Good enough. Full disclosure, I'm sure you can tell by the name, we have mentioned this country a lot, but I thought this was really interesting because this festival actually occurs the night specifically of April 30th to the morning of May 1st. And again, it is not a fall-based festival. However, it is notable because it shares a lot of similarities to Halloween, actually.
Oh.
And a little bit like Dia de los Muertos, with leaving out different types of food offerings, people dressing up in costumes, parading around bonfires and stuff like that. So if anyone wants to guess what country this is, if it wasn't already obvious enough.
Guesses?
Would you like to guess this time?
Yeah, it's Germany.
It is Germany.
It is?
It is.
Really?
Yes, it is Germany. And the purpose of this festival is to mark the arrival of spring. And also, it is kind of developed into a little bit of a pagan Christian influence celebration to also ward off evil spirits. So it
Wow.
shares a lot of similarities to Halloween, which I thought was really cool,
That's really
even though
cool.
it takes
Yeah.
place in the spring.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes.
All right. We got time for one more?
Lots of fire on tonight's panel.
All right, this is mine.
Yeah.
Crop over.
Yeah.
All right, so they do some cool stuff for this one. All right,
Crop over.
there's the 4-day morning jam, which is like a street parade with paint and powder. And then
Oh,
there's
that's
the
cool.
Grand
4-day
Kaduman
powder
parade, which features like elaborate costumes and music. Kind of think like Carnival, but like not.
Oh,
Carnival.
okay.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's not Carnival. That's not the festival, but it was originally a celebration of the end of the sugar harvest, right? But now it's more like there's competitions, there's arts, there's craft markets, there's food fairs. So
Yeah.
lots of harvest once again. So
we
what are
love
our
harvest
guesses?
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harvest season,
Oh,
folks.
Yeah.
What are we guessing?
This is
Barbados.
Barbados.
Yeah, I was
Wonderful
thinking
guess.
Barbados.
Wonderful
Barbados.
guess.
Actually,
Rihanna's from Barbados.
Rihanna's from Barbados.
Tip of my
Yes.
tongue.
So yeah, it began as a history of celebration of the sugarcane harvest in the 17th century, rooted in both African and British traditions. Although the modern festival was revived in 1974 and has been enhanced by the Natural Cultural Foundation of Barbados. But initially, it was a time for like feasting and revelry amongst plantation workers. That was like a tongue twister.
That
Yeah,
was.
wow.
That was.
No, you got it out.
Wait.
But I
This
got
is
it out.
really
Yeah.
cool. I've never heard of this
Yeah.
before, and I
No.
would love to ask Rihanna
Yeah.
if
If
she in
is
fact
participating
celebrates
in
this.
it, yeah.
Has
It's just
heard of
being
it
like,
before.
thank God we have sugar, man. That was-
Yeah.
Thank
Literally.
Thank
Thank
God.
God for sugar.
Thank
Who's grabbing a
goodness
sweet
for
treat after this?
Well, and you guys don't need sweet treats because I'm bringing everyone. Everyone gets a
Good.
yam. That's
Yeah.
your
That was
treat.
great.
All we need is
Okay,
yams.
all you
Everyone
need is a
gets a
yam. And then
Everyone
you're
gets
good.
That's all
Yeah.
we need is a yam. We got time for one more.
A sweet yam.
Send us one, Lauren.
Okay, I'm waiting for the graphic. I'm gonna go without the graphic. Okay, so this is Pongal. I couldn't find an actual picture of them participating. So I
So
found
Lauren AI generated a festival and then put it on the screen,
No.
guys.
I did not do that.
Let's hear it.
So this is a 4-day festival. Families will clean their houses and they'll put rice flour like designs on the outside of them.
Really cool.
It's also a way of coming together as a community. They'll exchange food with their next door neighbors.
Nice.
And it's honoring the sun god.
Yeah.
So do you want to guess?
Well, I'm Indian American, so it's India.
Yeah. Yes. It's South India specifically. So it's an ancient South Indian harvest festival that dates back to over 1,000 years. And it's honoring the sun god and the energy that the sun god provides and the crops that are growing.
All right.
Interesting.
Sun, moon, harvest, and fire.
Yep.
Those are the themes for tonight,
And yams.
folks. And yams.
Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, well, that is all the time we have for today. Fall really is a fascinating time of year for many cultures. Whether you're celebrating Thanksgiving or something else, we wish you a memorable holiday season. Back to you, Janae.
Thanks, Tyler. Sadly, that is all the time we have for today. In the meantime, stay updated with our ATD on all of our socials at PSU at the desk, and let us know what you want to see next. I'm Janae Overton, and we will see you back at the desk next week.